Right.
Mop up the mess from self-managed properties. We're going to talk about owners, landlords managing properties themselves, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Stay tuned.
I'm the ringleader, so listen up.
Well, good morning.
How are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Good, good, good. What's new in Zanthony world?
Nothing's new in this zoo. Another day, another dollar, another glorious day of real estate here to educate all of our viewers with a very interesting topic this morning.
You know what, Zanth? I guess I met with the landlord yesterday. Whacked it on Facebook himself. Not really feeling the good about the type or level of inquiries coming in. Mark, can you rent it for us? And then whilst talking with him, we talked about lots of things, and it was like, oh my god, there's so many good reasons to use a good realtor, a good real estate agent with your property. So we thought we'd cycle through those things today.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it is a common thing that we do see here in the Novak agency or the Novak Properties Group, whereby whereby people have self-managed a property and it's all fine until something goes wrong. And that's where your real estate agent really can pick up the pieces. And that's where it is so beneficial to have a qualified and educated, an experienced professional in managing your most valuable asset.
And you know what? I guess I could put it this way: the best. For some reason, over the years, dealing with landlords that manage it themselves, they take a bullet much deeper, harder, longer than they would than with a real estate agent. And what I mean by that is if they cock up a mistake, if they make the mistake, it literally that open wound is acceptable when they do it. Whereas if a professional agent allows a tenant to go into arrears, owners would just lose it, and it's not that much money. But the amount of times we've cleaned up a mess when an owner's made it, and they're like, "Well, oops," it's pretty incredible.
Absolutely. And I mean, the perks of having a real estate agency helping to manage your property really there's so much involved in it. But I think the main thing that shines is securing the right tenant for your property. If you're self-managing yourself, popping it on Facebook, allowing kind of anyone to come through, you don't have that experience in researching that tenant that's going to be living in your property. You don't have those skills in asking the right questions to make sure they're the right fit for your property. And if you have the wrong tenant that's coming into your property, you're just leaving yourself open for so much damage, so much heartache, so many problems down the line that can compound over time as well. Not only issues with payment, it could be issues to the property as well, having additional tenants live in there too when there's only one person on a lease. Is there even a lease? Do you know how to write a lease agreement if you're self-managing your own property?
That's probably the first golden mistake on the setup. The setup's not done correctly by way of the lease, the ingoing report. I've got to say, a property manager, when I talk about a professional property manager, when I talk about a career property manager, I'm talking about someone who wasn't a beautician a month or two ago, and now they're calling themselves a property manager managing your property. I'm talking about a career property manager who's been doing it for longer than 10 years. These guys, that's who you want managing your property. These guys have laser beam vision. They can see around corners. The amount of times we work with some incredible property managers in our team at Novak. The amount of time these ladies, happen to be ladies, will make a call on something with their judgment from their, they're seeing around corner, and it actually manifests, and it's like, how did you, like, and I guess when you're so transactional, when you're doing it so much, you get really good at it. And the amount of money they save for landlords is just amazing. And we see it over and over and over. And it's like, why wouldn't you do it?
Yeah. And what is the main reason that people do want to self-manage? I mean, from my point of view, I would say that they just want to minimize the costs in paying a real estate agency their management fee. But in doing that, if you're not following all of the procedures for your routine inspections, addressing any maintenance issues really promptly and swiftly, then you're just opening yourself up for even more costs down the line, as opposed to paying a monthly management fee to a real estate agency.
Yeah, look, I think the big thing as well is it can appear to be harmonious, good, smooth, and it can rip on the way out. It's always delicate on the way out. It's always delicate, with the way you're setting your payment up at the beginning of the tenancy. During the tenancy, Zan, the biggest mistake I see during a tenancy, particularly in these times of rental increases, is rapport built with a landlord and tenant that is leveraged by the tenant. And what I mean by that is there's just this love, respect, I'll do you a favor, you should do me a favor, sort of code that and it's a beautiful thing to see, but it's in business. It's different. So I think that allowing a tenant to go into chronic rental arrears is much easier when you sort of like them, or they're having a baby, or they lost their job, and it's like, no worries. Whereas there is less tolerance with a career property manager with that sort of stuff, and I think those things in life that happen with children and career changes and job losses and stuff like that are a fact of life. And a property manager is like, yeah, well, that's we have a lot of people in that situation, and this is what we do. Whereas a self-managed owner is more like, well, maybe stop paying.
Yeah. Do you know what? I'm a renter myself, and I would be really cautious of going into a self-managed property. If I found something on Facebook and it was an owner just renting out their property, I would be cautious about that, because I know that this owner, this landlord, doesn't have the same skills, experience, education within the real estate industry. Are they just going to rock up to the property themselves and inspect it whenever they want, without knowing that you actually do need to give the tenant some guidelines and some time frames that you'll be inspecting, and you're restricted on how many times you can actually go and access that property?
It happens. You've had it happen to a property managed by an agency. What's Luke saying? Bad tenants target self-managed properties. Yeah, I think that's the thing as well. Where sometimes you're thinking, I don't have the qualifications to get something through an agent. I'll go through Facebook and rent something there. Time is money. Get the experts in. I've got to say, I reckon it's bloody cheap. On the back of what Luke was saying, time is money. Brendan also says a property manager is also the advocate for the tenants, to the landlord. All the time, Brendan. I hear, I hear drug dealers target self-manage. With Brendan, just on your comment there, and feel free to make a comment, anyone to hear what you think. But I hear our property managers spanking landlords all the time, and saying you can't do that. It's not acceptable. This has to get done straight away. So yeah, you're right. They're sort of good advocates there to sort of stand up. But Zanthony, what you said right at the beginning, I think is critical. Why are owners doing this? They're trying to save 5, 6, or 7% management fees. If it's a $700 a week property, you're talking a consideration of $35 a week, $45 a week, which isn't a small amount of money. Half of that's going to be tax deductible generally. And I do have to say that a property manager performing that's on point is going to be making you a lot more than 5% in your rent coming in, whether it's reducing arrears, whether it's reducing days vacancy, whether it's making sure your rent's at market, whether it's making your repairs that you're making sure your repairs are done and there's no claimable things against you. They'll make you a lot more than 5%.
Absolutely. And I mean, yes, you do have a very valuable asset. Let's just say it's $1 million, and you might think that you can take care of that the best, but the reality is, leave it to the experts. We've seen this day in, day out, where things just go wrong, and everything and it all starts with poor screening, a poor lease agreement, poor knowledge, poor communication with the tenants, poor maintenance. All of these things compound together and create a very lackluster, a very costly, and a very negative experience to anyone that's thinking of self-managing their property.
Yeah, I think it's much like building a house. It's like, I could probably do that. Good luck. I'm sure you could do open heart surgery as well, but it's one of those. It's one of those things where you leave it to the pros. Now, and my parting words, the great words of Lisa Novak. I love this one. Who would you trust your $1 million bag of cash with? If these 2-bedroom units are worth $1 million, you are trusting $1 million of your money with an agent. So you're giving that $1 million bag of cash to the agent and saying, "Can you please look after this for me?" When you come back to get your bag of cash 3 years, 5 years, 7 years later, you want to make sure there's more money in there, not less.
Yeah. And that's a really good analogy to use for anyone out there that is thinking of self-managing their property. Have a really long, hard think about that. Yeah.
Yep. You're a weapon.
You're a weapon.
Thanks, Sam. Have a great day. And,
have a happy Wednesday.
And guys, there's Desmond Vod there. Look, and you can always call us if you need any advice. Give us a call. More than happy to chat. Or just nominate your topic here you want us to talk about, and we'll educate you on anything real estate. Just pop it in the comments, and that's where we get a lot of our content from.
Absolutely. It's great to see other comments come in. We want to talk about what you want to hear about as well.
Absolutely. Xanth, have a good day.
You too. Bye, guys.
So, bye.